Hello and welcome to Clay Pigeon in Dorchester for the penultimate round of the 2022 Ultimate Karting Championship. This is the circuit that launched Jenson Button's career, and by the end of this weekend we'll have a good idea of those drivers that will be topping the championship tables and have the right to call themselves the Ultimate Karting Champion. And in the process they will have maybe taken another step on their journey to emulating the career of the man himself. Well, before we get underway, let's have a quick review of some of the stories and talking points from round 4 at Rowra in Cumbria, starting with the Honda Cadets. And it was Oliver Majewski who put himself in 3rd place on the podium. But ahead of him, the competition was both fierce and dominant, with Rocco Shenton taking 2nd place in every heat, the pre-final and the super-final. Only to be topped, though, by Kenzo Craigie, who achieved exactly the same, winning everything, but obviously taking the top spot. So well done to both of those young drivers there. Kenzo drives for Ambition Motorsport, who are headed up by Paul Janes, and I'll be catching up with Paul in the next programme to talk about some of the changes that are coming in 2023. The drama in the Sodi Micromax Super Final started with rain in the early laps, causing many karts, all on slicks, to go sliding off the track, including race leader Katie Donaldson, whose desperation at her unfortunate situation all got captured on the onboard 360-degree camera. Something of a Charles Leclerc moment for Katie there. But the man who reaped the benefit came home in 1st was James Roberts. Daniel Minto and Tyler O'Neill finishing 2nd and 3rd respectively. Both made up 6 places each to rescue what had been an otherwise ordinary weekend for them. Roberts now has a comfortable championship lead coming into this round, and depending on how well he does, we could see him wrap up the 2022 season here. The driver that made up the most places in that super final, though, was Oliver Warner. 7 overtakes in total to come home in 5th. Well, the Minimax class delivered some great racing, as always, with our 3 championship leaders going wheel to wheel and offering some fantastic excitement and moments for all of us watching that super final. Brilliance coming from all 3 of these youngsters, but in the end it was Finn Leslie of Sam Pollitt Racing who took the win. Just behind him was our championship leader Noah Wolf, who came home in 2nd, and Seb Mims of K-Sport took another 3rd place. Well done to him, and I have to say that surely the top step of the UKC podium is only another race or 2 away for young Seb. Well, Wolf's 11 wins in heats and finals this season sees him with a small championship lead coming into the final 2 rounds. Kudos though to Gregor Reed as well, who made up the most places in that super final, 16 in total, to finish in 14th from way back in 30th on the grid. Nice work, Gregor. Staying with Sam Pollitt Racing, because they were celebrating once again in Junior Rotax, where Charlie Hart, with his eyes firmly, I would imagine, on his dad's Mercedes AMG GT4 car, hoping to drive that one day, took a hard-fought win in the super final. And like Kenzo Craigie and Honda Cadets, he won every heat, the pre-final and the super final up to that point. His win was over Stephen Duncan, who was in 2nd, and Ted Bradbury, also of Sam Pollitt Racing, who came home in 3rd. Zaki Hussein, though, credit to him, after a difficult weekend that was dogged by mechanical problems, he was the driver that made up the most places in the super final, keeping his head, getting the overtakes done. He went from 32nd all the way up to 18th. Nice work, Zaki, that's how you do it. The championship points now show Charlie Hart, though, as the new championship leader coming into this round. Tell you what, Dad, it's time to fire up that Mercedes. Charlie's ready for a go, isn't he? Well, in Senior Rotax, there is one man who is showing that he's really in tune with his car in the UKC Championship, and that is Caden McQueen. He finished 1st, and once again, it was by a considerable margin. The action behind Caden, though, was as exciting as it was full of post-race talking points, with Jamie Rogers, the man who actually crossed the line in 2nd, being excluded after the event for ignoring multiple black flags. And that meant then that Kern Sang actually found himself finishing second and Louis Harvey in third. Jamie's exclusion has actually blown the championship wide open. Louis Harvey now leading, but I have to say, I think this one is going to go down to the final race at the final weekend, because they're all pretty tight at the top now and there's a lot to drive for. The class of drivers that are going to be first out, going wheel to wheel in search of championship points, are Junior Rotax. And at the top of that championship table, it's dominated by Sam Pollitt Racing, with Charlie Hart and Ted Bradbury occupying the top 2 spots. Let's see how they've qualified and who else has taken one of the 34 grid positions in the super final, as we go and join your race commentators, Jake and Alan.
Well, it was dry. It's now absolutely chucking it down. Gabe Fairbrother and Ollie Stevens on the front row of the grid from Ted Bradbury and Blake Ticehurst. Then Leo Burgess and Ben Bartlett from Lomax and Baker, Bullock Carter and Charlie Hart. From the Charmander himself in 11th from Alex Cull. Then Steve Duncan and Reza Suraruthan from Alex Adams-Acton and Stephen Barnes. Then Ruben Kernahan and Bobby Rosier, Arthur Thacker and Alfie Richards. Then it is Harry Maynard alongside Harry Pallister, Isaac O'Shea and Matt Lambert from Archie Clark and Harry Hannam. And then we've got Ollie Kerr and Zaki Hussain from Finn Smith and Max Taylor. Behind them it's Archie Lyons and Alex Duncan. And then it's Scrivener, Watson and Kulkarni. So they come to the grid, it's wet at Clay Pigeon, so watch your backs, folks. It's going to be an interesting one as they dive through to the first corner, and off on the grass there. That looks like Charlie Hart, and he's accidentally tagged into the back of Ben Bartlett. They go around, and oh my goodness, all 3 Harrys involved in that one. That's Hannam, Maynard and Pallister. They've all gone around, as too has Max Taylor. Manages to get going again, but absolute pandemonium into the first corner. It was Charlie Hart. Look, he got 2 wheels on the grass, goes through, and he just got no way to stop into the side of Ben Bartlett. Big problems for him there. And whoa, Zaki Hussain. Talk about avoiding action.
I tell you what, that is a great piece of driving by Zaki Hussain. How he missed the carts in front of him, anyone knows, but a great piece of driving. Stephen Duncan qualified P13, the 3 kart, 3rd in the championship last year, Jake, has not made the start.
No, indeed, and we're watching Sam Baker, who is trying to work his way through. That's Ewan Sharman just behind in the Argenti car, trying to slice it up the inside in the chicane. That's a much easier move to make in the wet, and through as well goes Barnes.
Stephen Barnes, that's a great move by Stephen Barnes, by the way. He's taken advantage. Kilcarney in front now of Charlie Hart, is trying to recover down to Hans hairpin. And, well, he makes up, what, 2, maybe 3 places there, Charlie Hart.
Yeah, indeed. He manages to get back on Ben Bartlett, who he's already had a little bit of love taps from on the first corner. And through again comes Adi Kulkarni. Nice move as they complete the second lap. And it's Fairbrother out in front of Bradbury. 3rd place, Reese Lomax. Then it's Pearson Bullock Carter, who's worked his way up into 4th position in front of Leo Burgess. Oh, and that's Ticehurst. Washes out in turn 1. Oh, just a couple of inches off the line. You get on the marbles, that's it, you're done.
Blake Ticehurst, the Honda Cadet champion 2 years ago, but he won't be winning this race today. Unfortunate, just runs wide, and once you're out there, Jake, there's no coming back.
That's the difficulty, because of course most of the weekend they've been running in the dry and the marbles go off on the outer end of the racing line, but once the rain comes down, it's an absolute nightmare. It's like you've got ice cubes under your tyres. You've got no chance of getting any grip if you run wide. So it's a very tricky situation still. Now, Fairbrother is not dropping Bradbury. Bradbury is going with him. Lomax and Bullock Carter are on their own race in 3rd position, and now Charman trying desperately to get past Ollie Stevens to get into P6. But the 2 leaders are out in front, and Bradbury is not giving Fairbrother any respite.
Yeah, and Bradbury and Fairbrother, 2 of the main protagonists in the championship this season. So this is important. Fairbrother will want to hold on out front, and Bradbury will want to turn that position over.
Oh, that's Pearson Bullock Carter. He manages to get into 3rd place on the inside of Lomax. Good overtaking move there from the 15. So Pearson Bullock Carter slices up the inside, and there's great badinage further back. Barnes on the grass again as he goes wheel to wheel with Ewan Sharman. I am not going to be shoved around this racetrack, matey boy. And he gets through. That's very nicely handled by Stephen Barnes. Very committed, disciplinarian as well as he comes back onto the racing line. And we're back on board with Baker, who is there in 8th place. Charman back down to 9th in front of Alex Adams-Acton. And then Ruben Kernahan trying to work his way through the field with Zaki Hussain and Matthew Lambert just outside the top 20, as you can see on the screen. But Harry Pallister managed to get going again after his moment. So too did Blake Ticehurst, actually. He got going again, but sadly Harry Hannam, involved in the first lap incident, did not.
Should point out that we do have a bit of a problem with the timing. It goes 1st to 10th, then shows 21st to 30th, then it will show the drivers after 30th, but he doesn't seem to come back and show 11th to 20th, but you can see them scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So there you go, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15, all at the bottom of the screen now. Fastest lap set by Ted Bradbury.
That was a good battle going through the first corner. It's brave to run round the outside. So you can see that Stephen Barnes and Ollie Stevens having a proper ding-dong for 5th position at the moment, running wheel to wheel as they run through there. It takes 2 brave men to do that kind of battle. Charlie Hart still all over the back of Adi Kulkarni. Here he goes again into hands on the inside line, and that'll do nicely. So he manages to get the overtaking move, and he's obviously got to work very hard to keep that door firmly shut, because Kulkarni wants to get back on the inside again. Very close racing. Ted Bradbury now setting the fastest lap as Baker is going to lose out here on the inside line. Comes the 18 of Alex Adams-Acton. So Adams-Acton gets through. That's very nicely handled from the double-barreled superstar as he runs his way through. And look at how close Fairbrother has now got pressure from Ted Bradbury, who's set the fastest lap. He's done a 42.2 last time around, and Bradbury is all over Fairbrother. I kind of want to see what's going to happen between those two. They're side by side. Fairbrother actually having to shut the door firmly in Bradbury's face.
Yeah, and Bradbury, of course, can check his braking on what Fairbrother's doing in front. Gabe Fairbrother lives just a couple of miles up the road from us, Jake. So he's local to us here in North Wales. And Bradbury, but he's having a quick look behind him. That's never, or not usually, a good sign when they look behind, because they're worried about who's behind. But he's had a good look behind, so he knows he's got nothing to worry about at all. He can just concentrate on what Fairbrother's doing in front, and then concentrate on going up the inside at some point, as indeed Charlie Hart does now. Nice move by Charlie.
Charlie Hart launches on the inside of Ollie Kerr. Bye-bye, buddy. Junior Rotax continues here at Clay Pigeon in round 5 out of 6 of the Ultimate Karting Championships, and you can see Charlie Hart is really making mincemeat of the opposition. He is absolutely determined to carve his way through the field. That gets the move on Isaac O'Shea and Arthur Thacker in one fell swoop. Thacker drifts out wide as they come up towards Buttons, but this is such a tough circuit in the wet conditions, and Charlie Hart, having had the problem on the first start, he's looking to make up for it rapidly.
He certainly is. Pearson Bullock Carter now sets the fastest lap as the carts come down to Billy's Blind. The opening lap incident on the first after the start is quite unusual here now at in Billy's Blind at Clay Pigeon, as we get carts losing places in behind our onboard cameraman.
That was Razor Seraruthin. He had absolutely no response to Charlie Hart.
Yeah, Billy's Blind used to be carnage through Billy's Blind, but then of course when they brought in the new front fairings, that pretty much sorted that out. But of course in these conditions, Jake, anything can happen. Yeah,
it's a very tricky circuit. You've really got to be incredibly ruthless to make these overtaking moves happen. As we come back towards the sharp end of the field, we're watching the 4th place battle. This is Lomax, Barnes, Charman and Stevens. And they have managed to pull out a bit of a gap now over the likes of Purchase, Baker and Adams-Acton. So they're having a nice run of it. As out in front, that's Bradbury. Bradbury's got through on Fairbrother. Now, we didn't see where that happened, but Bradbury has got a relentless battle finally sorted out on Gabe Fairbrother. We're back on board with Charlie Hart, who's his latest victim. Back on the inside, that's the 143, Archie Clark. There's not a lot he can do about it. He's just got to watch as Charlie Hart dances through on the inside. He really has got the measure of this Clay Pigeon circuit in the wet conditions.
What about this for a battle of this? It must be about a dozen carts in this group.
And that was a difficult manoeuvre to pull off. They're going to be 3 abreast into turn 1. Someone's got to bail out of this. Charlie Hart just watching for the momentum to come his way. That's the 13 backing off mid-corner. Alex Cole gets out of the way, and Charlie Hart's about to do 3 into 1. That is amazing. Alex Adams-Acton has no response, and Charlie Hart finds himself in the top 10.
Charlie Hart doing his best to make a bid for his dad's Mercedes AMG.
Yes, indeed.
Car.
Well, there goes
GT4 car. He wants a little driver. That I suspect, Jake, he's actually had a little drive of it already. But yeah, he's on it today. Charlie Hart, championship leader, of course.
Well, Charman got the move there on Reece Lomax. So Ewan Charman managing to get himself up into 4th position. That'll do nicely for him. As we watch coming towards us, a little bit of no man's land for Sam Baker. But the battle for 10th position really has opened up, and Charlie Hart has hit the front of that queue. Although he is now getting a little bit of pressure as running wide. Good battles all the way through this gaggle of drivers. There's an excellent waft of talent from 10th place down to about 24th.
Absolutely incredible battles all the way through the field, and normally in these conditions you quite often don't see so many karts battling in one space because the rain tends to sort them out. But look at it, underneath through the horseshoe, incredible. Back on board with Charlie Hart.
Yeah, he's side by side with Burgess. Burgess leaving him absolutely no room for negotiation. This is as far as you go, Sonny Jim. So now Charlie Hart's going to have to try again. He's got good acceleration off the turn, though. He read the situation well. Round the outside, towards Billy's blind. Nudges the back of Burgess slightly. Burgess comes back across the racing line. Charlie Hart's already got to the inside line. That'll do, and he's up to 9th. What a comeback.
Great racing, great racing. Charlie Hart showing where he's the championship leader coming into this round.
Now that's a retirement, I think. Obviously we saw from the side of the road, I think that might actually have been Stephen Duncan having pulled off the road on the formation lap, so he is still there by the side of the road watching as the rest of the field go by. That's heartbreaking for Stephen Duncan.
Yeah, he's one of the solid front runners in this all season, so he's had a problem prior to the start and not made the start. So a bit of an unfortunate occurrence for Stephen, but he'll be back next time, no doubt, at Three Sisters. Three Sisters in Wigan coming up in a couple of weeks' time. And what a great circuit that is, one of the best circuits in karting. I think UKC, the only karting championship to appear at Three Sisters this year.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal place, and it really does promote no nonsense, no holds barred, old school karting, and that's what we like about it. Oh, off the circuit, a big moment for Harry Maynard. He's already had one moment in this race on the first lap, and I'm afraid at Hans Hairpin. Now, I'm not entirely sure whether he had assistance to get to that barrier or not, but it doesn't matter as far as the outcome is concerned. He still finds himself eating a complete spray of tyre dust.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you were going to go and place a camera, you could have placed it in any better a position than that. Right in front of the camera he hits.
Well, very unfortunate indeed, but I'm afraid there's not a lot he can do about that one except just watch from the rest of the race action from the sidelines. You can see the marshals already going to work to try and put the tyre barrier back the way it should be. But I think, actually, to be fair to Harry Maynard, I think he's got going again. So he has managed to recover and return to the circuit. Meanwhile, Bradbury has extended a 2.5 seconds over Gabe Fairbrother. Pearson Bullock Carter third from Charman, who is the fastest man on track now, and he's gone sub 41.
This has connotations for the championship lead, with Bradbury now ahead of Gabe Fairbrother. Gabe's had a couple of poor rounds by his standard, not necessarily his fault. He was taken out at Glenny Gorse, of course, and then was involved in an incident at Rower that cost him a penalty. So he's had a couple of poor rounds, and he'll be just pleased to be back in the mix and putting himself in contention for the final round.
And what a showdown that's going to be between Bradbury and Fairbrother, with a few of the other drivers, you know, nipping at the heels. Charlie Hart, of course, in a difficult situation. We could have 4 or 5 drivers in that showdown for the title by the time we get to the finish line at Three Sisters.
Definitely, no doubt about it. I think it should probably be between Bradbury, Fairbrother and Charlie Hart. But you never know, somebody might come out of the pack and anything can happen on the weekend.
So they're still battling away. This is a nice little tussle up on the inside of Ollie Kerr. That's the 13 of Alex Cull. He gets the move for 14th position as the field is still dicing all the way through. And you can see, look, the rain has stopped and there's that dry line appearing through the chicane. That's also going to have ramifications for the other classes later on. We're going to get to see some interesting battles. A few drivers might want to try and come off that racing line to dive through on the inside. Then they'll be compromised with a dry line. Arthur Thacker, unfortunately, it looks as though he's been assisted to the grass on the outside there. Very unfortunate for Arthur Thacker, but there's not a lot he can do about it except just get back in and carry on.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a racing incident there, but was assisted, as you say, from behind. Here's another battle going on down in Billy's blind, the 49 kart going through the picture.
Yeah, it's Bobby Rosier trying to shake off his opponent. So Bobby Rosier working his magic to try and filter his way through the field, but it's not easy when you've got so many opponents to try and shake off. It's and look, that was a fascinating situation. You could see there on the braking zone, down to Hans Hairpin. You cannot keep these karts in a straight line when it's this slippery here at Clay Pigeon. You've only got a certain amount of contact patch with that tyre, and you hit the brakes when you're at that speed trying to get down to that slow an apex speed. The back end is stepping out all over the place. You're trying to get control of the car. And watch them as they come around this time by. We're watching race leader Ted Bradbury, who's now extended a little bit of a gap over Gabe Fairbrother. Has actually pulled it out to 2.5 seconds. but when they get on the brakes in these karts on this circuit, it is so slippery. Look how quickly Pearson Bullock Carter's closed up to Gabe Fairbrother. He might lose out second place here.
Angus Scrivener, Jake, look at that. Started P33, he's now P11. What a fantastic performance. And Archie Clark has made up a load of places as well. He's made up 13, started P25, so on the 1-4-3 karts. And Finley Watson, he started P34, that's right at the back of the grid, and he's 13th.
Amazing.
Finley Watson, great performance by those guys.
There is some sensational talent all the way through this field, but out of the final turn, and is going to be Ted Bradbury. He will take the checkered flag in fine style here. An excellent run from Bradbury. Checkered flag is his. Excellent run. Pearson Bullock Carter.
He's not seen it, Jake.
He hasn't seen it. He's too busy in the battle for positions.
He's going round again.
Well, that's the thing. You've got to go round again.
Well,
if you're not sure.
The checkered flag just in the top right of the screen there from that static camera covering the S's. It's definitely waving, but the race leader, Ted Bradbury, has not seen it, so he's going around for another time. This is the battle for 14th, by the way.
It's going right down to the wire as well. Fair play to Pearson Bullock Carter for closing up on Reece Lomax for second. But yes, look, Ted Bradbury still going around. He didn't see the checkered flag.
He's right in amongst all the back markers. He's right in amongst them.
Now
there
he sees it.
There he is.
There we go.
In the air. Ted Bradbury takes the win then from Gabe Fairbrother. It is in second. Pearson Bullock Carter rounds out the podium. Ollie Stevens it is that came through for fourth place from Reece Lomax. Then came Sam Baker, Stephen Barnes making up 9, Isaac O'Shea 15, Archie Clark 16, Charlie Hart in 10, Watson made up 21, Scrivener 22.
Well, how about that in junior Rotax? I'm not quite sure at the end there that Ted Bradbury realised that he had taken the checkered flag. He was crossing the line in almost a blanket finish with a back marker and seemed to carry on for another few turns before maybe he realised he'd taken the win. Well done to him. It was really good in the early stages watching trackside. That battle between himself and Gabe Fairbrother was something to behold, I have to tell you, on what was a rapidly drying track, although still very damp. Let's go and see what Ted had to say when we caught up with him at the podium.
A win today, fantastic result for you. Just talk us through it.
Yeah, it was a good race. Obviously, got away with Gabe at the start, managed to get into P2 from the start, and then chased down Gabe slowly. Almost passed him at the start, and then got past him, and then led the race from there, which was really good, and it's good for the championship as well.
And you're thanking who this weekend?
I'm also thanking my mum, my dad, all my team, especially Sam Pollitt and Lewis Brown, for everything they do for me, making me a better driver, and the setup as well.
Okay, well done.
Thank you very much.
A few dramas for you at the last couple of rounds, but today went much better for you and keeps you in the championship hunt going to Wigan, one of your favourite tracks, I know.
Yeah, Wigan's a very good track of ours on the teams, and it's going to be a good scrap between the three of us. But like you said, the last couple of rounds haven't gone our way, but all things happen for a reason. Maybe it wasn't very fair, but can't do anything about it. Team have worked effortlessly over the past couple of weekends, and the results are coming in, so we're happy.
Okay, who do you want to thank?
I'd like to thank my mechanic, Aidan, Ben at Ultimate R, and everyone who got me out for the final, and my mum and dad. Best
result in UKC this year for you. It was getting close towards the end. Third, could have turned into second maybe?
Yeah, could have right at the end. First had already gone by then, but we got to second right at the end of the race, but just couldn't make the move at the end.
Who's responsible for your success this weekend?
Jack's Motorsport, for just everything that they've done for me. When I've moved to them, they've just made it 100 times easier and a lot better for me as a driver.
So now as we head to the season finale at Three Sisters, 17 points cover the top three. Charlie Hart slips to joint second with Gabe Fairbrother. Bradbury's win puts him 17 ahead. Reece Lomax is in the mix on 50 points deficit. Stephen Duncan missing that race, costly for him, but he's an outside bet for the season finale. In Junior Rotax, anything's possible.
Well, next out on track, it's Senior Rotax, and one man who knows this class very well is in charge of the team behind me there, Hunter Motorsport, because Reece Hunter is the current British Rotax champion. And the knowledge in the family doesn't obviously stop there, because you'll have heard of Kai Hunter as well. He's no stranger to a top-level karting championship podium himself. And Dad Matthew, well, he runs Warden Law. Earlier on, I caught up with Reece to ask him about the team and his journey to the top in karting. Thanks for taking time to have a chat to us. You're now running the team. Not racing at the moment this season. Tell us how things are going.
Well, it's been a good weekend up to now. We've had a good test day yesterday. We've had the heats today. Had a couple of good results, won a couple of heats. The pace is there. We just need a bit more consistency from the drivers. Yeah. The track changes from the morning to the afternoon, so we've just got to manage the setup changes to get it perfect for the drivers to do well.
And tell us about how you're getting on with the team. Obviously, now you're the team boss. Gone are the days where you're behind the wheel of the kart. You're looking after the youngsters, inspiring the next generation.
To be fair, I really enjoy it. Once it's going right and we're getting the results, it's really enjoyable. Just as much as when I was doing it myself last year.
And your experience, though, must be invaluable, obviously, reaching the top there at senior Rotax level, and you've got youngsters below you now. Your knowledge of the Rotax engine and how the whole series works, you know, must be a real kind of boon for you when you're imparting your knowledge.
Well, I've done it for a fair few years now. I've been in some of the top teams in Europe kind of thing. So the experience I've gained from other teams has been invaluable for me starting my own team. I do my own engines as well, so I've got sealership of Rotax engines, so it does help having that as well to gain that extra little bit for the team.
What's the key to doing well here? What are you telling these youngsters this weekend?
The hardest bit around this track is probably keeping the tyres sweet until the final.
Right.
It's a very abrasive track, but yeah, it's just about managing the tyres. Last year, I really enjoyed this track. Apart from one race where I got beat by Kai at the O plate, apart from that, that's the only race that I do think I've been beaten at. So yeah, I think it's a really good track. We just need to keep it get it into the drivers of how to drive properly, and hopefully we can make some good positions tomorrow.
Yeah, and looking ahead at the super finals then here at UKC, penultimate weekend of the championship. Which youngsters out of your awning you're looking at that you're hoping might just get themselves on the podium if it all goes well?
We've got a fair few new drivers in the team this year, so it's more the fact of them progressing a lot faster. We've got a fair few drivers that have started towards the back at the start of the year, and now are coming from top 15 to top 10.
Brilliant.
Which is the most important bit. We've got drivers that have a bit more experience that have been winning heats today and doing really well. So yeah, senior max drivers, juniors, minis, micros, we've all got a good selection of drivers with different talents. So yeah, we'll see what we can do tomorrow.
Well, listen, best of luck for those super finals, and thanks for talking to us. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you very much.
Well, great advice from Reese there, and let's see who can make the best of it in the senior Rotax class. And all eyes, of course, will now be on the top of the championship table as Louis Harvey, Caden McQueen and Lorenzo Cordell are all still very much in with a shout of taking that 2022 championship title. Let's go and join your race commentators then and see how they all go. Here's Jake and Alan.
Well, Lewis Halliday's race has started with a spin on the formation lap. Can you believe that? He's going to have to restart from the back of the grid. So Jensen Watson, Louis Harvey on the front row from Lorenzo Cordell and Louis Weaver. Then Kienta Sang and Tristan Rennie from William Ellswood and Caden McQueen. Jack Lilly and Alex Eads round out the top 10. Halliday's going to have to start from the back of the grid. So Lincoln Bailey Arneson will be alone on row 6. Then Sam Light and Ben Boros. And it's going to be Jordan Morris and George Hunter. Dan Sawyer, Thomas Wood, Stephen Napier and Isaac Lord will round out the top 20. Row 11 is Jude Fernahoe and Alex Moody from Rory Burke and Elliot Pickard. Then Crockett, Jex, Doughty, Duthie, Dylan Briley and Amelia Nelson from James Otto and Kasper Pajecki. Then Les Taylor, Ben Perry trying to rejoin his position, I notice. And that is how they're going to line up.
Talking about rejoining position, Halliday's cut the track to get back into 13th, Jake.
Into the first corner first, no problems at all. Louis Harvey's going to have some problems trying to keep the field at bay as they tuck their way through drier conditions than we saw from the junior Rotax, and the field knits its way through the chicane. Looks as though everybody's pretty much kept it on the straight and narrow though for the first half of the lap. And as they go through Hans Hairpin for the first time, a couple of drivers diving their way through. There's problems in the background. I thought we were going to have a completely clean lap, and we don't. There's going to be about 3 or 4 drivers involved in that one trying to recover, but certainly amongst the leaders, no major changes. In the middle there, that was a little bit feisty from the 15, trying to charge his way forward. That is, of course, Sam Light, but it hasn't quite been the perfect lap from him. But out in front, it's still Jensen Watts holding on to the position. But with those 3 drivers, Cordell, Harvey and McQueen fighting for the title fight, they all need to get their skates on to deal with Jensen Watts.
Yeah, and Harvey in second place. He wants to keep his nose clean here. He'll be happy for Jensen Watts to lead it and get away with Watts and Cordell, but Harvey just wants to stay out of trouble at this stage. Here's the championship leader coming into this round. If he can win this race, he puts his foot on everybody else's neck. Going to the last round, he will have a big advantage. Will Ellswood there in behind.
Yeah, Caden McQueen makes his move into the final bend, so that puts Caden McQueen up to P5. He is charging his way back through. So he's made the move on Ellswood in front of Tasang, Rennie, Eads and Lincoln Bailey-Larnason. So there's plenty more still to do for Caden McQueen. Yellow flags up at Hans Hairpin for the incident that we saw on the first lap, because they've obviously got to make some adjustments to the barriers to reset them. But this is going to be interesting as the field continues to fight its way through, and you can see the general pace of the circuit so much faster now that we've got a little bit of a drier condition to the circuit. So this is where the drivers can really push on, and McQueen is obviously going to be looking after Louis Weaver. He sets the fastest lap of the race. Time for Caden to go for a charge.
Will Ellswood is one of the local experts on this circuit. He's here for the first time at UKC this weekend, and he's only here, Jake, to win this race. He came here to win. He's only here this weekend, not done any other rounds, and that's a nice move by Lewis Halliday upside the up the inside, I should say, of the 63 Thomas Wood. But Will Ellswood, who's still there, close enough, if good enough, and we know that he is certainly around this circuit. He's here to win. I think he suffered a bit of an exclusion. He wasn't happy with the decision earlier in the meeting. But we're in the final now, and where is he? There he is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th place for Will Ellswood as they come through the S's. So close enough if good enough, and like I say, Jake, we know that he is around here. He will be only looking to win this, and he will know coming in, of course, that people like Louis Harvey, they're in it to win the championship. He can throw one up the inside of Louis Harvey, and Harvey, he will know, has to give him it if he can get close enough to him.
Yeah, Harvey, Cordell and McQueen, they've got to play the percentages. They cannot afford a DNF here. Up the inside comes McQueen, dives in on Weaver. He doesn't even look like he's worrying about it. Weaver tried to get the switcheroo, but McQueen so quick to get back across the racing line. They occasionally joke about Caden McQueen as Lightning McQueen. He doesn't really like the comparison because he's very much his own man. But Caden McQueen absolutely rapid at getting back across the racing line to shut down the opposite lock. Very nicely done there. He's not going to get any opponents up the inside of him on the retaliation on this kind of battle. And Ellswood has just cracked open a fastest lap.
Yeah, there you go. It's like I say, he's only here to win. He knows he's quick around here, and he's certainly close enough. He's in 6th place currently, but I'm not sure he's going to be in 6th place for long, to be honest. He's got the pace. From there, he's got the pace to win it. He knows that. We know that. Will he do it though?
Well, Jenson Watts has now got the 3 championship protagonists right behind him. Cordell, Harvey, McQueen. This is exactly what we signed up for.
Now, being told by our weather expert that rain is due. Rain could be coming.
Halfway through the final.
And they're all on slicks. This could be fun.
Well, this is going to be down to who has got the nerves of steel and also who is the most delicate. And let's be honest, they're obviously pushing like stink at the moment, but if you push too hard before the rain comes, you're not going to have a lot of contact patch left to deal with when the rain does come. The person who's going to do well in the wet, as Ellswood gets the move there on the inside of Weaver, the person who wins the race, if it rains halfway through, is going to be the driver that's looked after their tyres well enough in the first half of the race.
Jake, let me tell you something. It's not going to come down to that. They're all on slicks. If it starts raining, it doesn't matter who's looked after the tyres. It's who drives best in slicks, on slicks, in the rain. And it'll be those that have tested on slicks in the rain that could potentially come out on top. So, how do you fancy it if it starts raining and you're on slick tyres? You can't go on the racing line, because if you go where the rubber is, it's like ice. Literally, if you walk on a wet track where rubber is in a pair of normal shoes, you'll feel how icy it is. It's like ice underneath you.
But it's also all those random birthday parties on rental carts in the dry conditions when it starts raining. Those will all have helped as well.
Yeah, that's true.
They do say, you know, if you want to get good at racing at this level, wait until it rains, get out there and don't put wet tyres on. That's how you learn how to really control it. Now we've got a bit of a pressure cooker building. Halliday's trying to make a comeback on the inside. Not a lot of space to play with, but he gets the move on Boros there. Very nicely handled as he dives in on the inside. So Lewis Halliday obviously should have started the race P11. Had to start from the back after spinning on the formation lap. That's a spot of rain on his camera, I noticed. So if it gets any heavier than that, they're really going to start having to think about this. But the battle for the lead is imminent. Jensen Watts has got Cordell and Harvey right in behind him now. And Caden McQueen is reeling them in. Ellswood and Weaver close for company. Tasang 7th, Eads, Rennie and Hunter all very close in behind as well, so it still could go anybody's way. Jack Lilly versus Bailey Arneson in front of us. Lewis Halliday dives in on the inside of Hans Hairpin. And you can see that there are spots of rain coming on the camera lens, so it could get heavier anytime soon. We drift wide. Here comes the move from Ben Boros. But we're back on the inside of Buttons, and now Jude Fernahoe's going to get the move on the inside into the final turn. Brilliant racing so far here at Clay Pigeon. Cars battling for the victory in the senior Rotax final here at Clay Pigeon, and look at that forecast for rain 5 minutes from now, and every single driver out there is on slick tyres. Here comes the move from Ellswood, dives in on the inside of McQueen. Never mind 5 minutes, look at that, it started raining already. It's just about how heavy it's going to get. Very exciting stuff on the way by the look of it. Yeah,
Louis Harvey, by the way, back into second, dropped to third temporarily. He's now back into second. Still Jensen Watts out front, Cordell there in third place. McQueen, Ellswood, we know Ellswood's here for the win. Nothing else will satisfy him. He will not be happy unless he takes home a UKC winners trophy.
Oh, and he's coming through!
Side and to make
Whoa!
That's a great move.
And that's really held up Cordell. Look, Cordell's got back behind McQueen now. Weaver's going to try and come through to the middle of the circuit as well. Cordell dives back in. Alex Eads is going to get past them both. No, Cordell comes back for the inside line in the left-hand apex. Brilliant, this is wrestling, never mind karting. Excellent stuff.
360-degree camera action at its best. This is why we brought those cameras in. And look at this, Harvey now all over the back of the man out front. Jensen Watts under pressure.
Well, that move from Ellswood has actually cost him a second and a half now. He's got to try and make that back up as here comes Cordell back on the inside of Alex Eads. Dives in, textbook. That's really nice. Out of Billy's blind. Manages to get the move before they come through to the chicane. And look, it's absolutely open season. It's roughhouse. Everybody wants the best position possible before the rain gets really heavy.
Now Ellswood now third place. He can see the two leaders out front of him. Now, how does he feel about rain and driving in the rain on slicks? He might think, you know, if it starts raining, this is a great opportunity for me, which of course it will be. And don't forget, the two out front, they get to the corners first next time round. So if it starts raining, the next lap round, the grip will not be where you thought it was the first time. It's another nice little move there.
Yeah, lovely overtake from Halliday on Bailey Arneson, so that's really nicely handled. And you can see still Jensen Watts, he's just been hanging on to this lead for dear life, but this is what Louis Harvey wants him to do. He wants him to lead the way. He wants Jensen Watts to do all the hard work until the moment is right.
Now, as I say, we're looking for the battle for 7th there. Now, as I said earlier, and this now comes into play as Harvey goes for the lead. Now, Ellswood in third knows, and that's a good swing back for the lead. Ellswood knows Harvey, and maybe Watts to some extent, but Harvey definitely is a championship leader. Ellswood knows that. He is throwing one up the inside, knowing that you have to move out of the way or we might collide. Yep. So Ellswood's here for the win. He doesn't care about the championship. He's going to go for it if he gets there.
Well, Watts and Harvey have already conceded a second of that 1.5 second deficit just by battling. Look, Watts taps his helmet to Louis. Stop racing me. We've still got a long way to go. Come on, think about this. Will Ellswood is on us like a ton of bricks. Yes. And he is going to be rocketing up the inside, given even an inch of a chance.
Started 7th, now 3rd. It doesn't look like he's going to be 3rd for long, does it? He's right on him now. Here comes Ellswood.
Yeah, Ellswood's going to be on this. This is absolutely crucial for Louis Harvey to sit there behind Jensen Watts, pick his moment, doesn't want to get into silly business. The championship is very much on his mind. He wants to win, but he also doesn't want to concede too much to Ellswood, because then he falls the risk of getting into the clutches of Caden McQueen. Lorenzo Cordell is just going to have to settle for a top 6. Here goes Harvey, diving up the inside, and there they go. Now the rain is starting to fall. It's getting heavier, and Harvey has just hit the front at the perfect moment. Here comes Ellswood. He's going to try and go the long way round, because that's where Jensen Watts is placing him. Runs round the outside, and look, it's got properly heavy now. Caden McQueen is suddenly all over them. Ellswood trying to come right round the outside. There's no grip at all. Here comes Ellswood, dives through on the inside into Buttons. In a second, back on the retaliation. Watts gets better traction. So now Ellswood can try again out of the final bend. He's going to get alongside. Watch out for Caden McQueen. He's going to dive in through the first turn, and McQueen's up to 3rd.
Oh, and Ellswood's down to 4th. That's so frustrating for him, but what a race we've got on here. It is properly coming
There
down
goes
now.
McQueen, dives in on Watts, into second place, passes his teammate. So now Caden McQueen into second place. This is what he's been waiting
Oh,
for.
look at it. It's absolutely chucking it down now. And they're all on slicks.
He loses his braking point, Caden McQueen, so that's going to drop him down again. Look, there goes Watts through into second place, but he's going to run right round the outside to try and come back in on acceleration. Ellswood is being patient in 4th place. Watts using the curb, McQueen not. Absolutely torrential all of a sudden. A minute and a half to go, and anything can happen from here, and they're not going to red flag it for this. They're just going to keep it going.
Well, no, neither should they. They certainly shouldn't either. I mean, this is why you practice slicks in the rain. You don't suddenly, oh, it's starting raining. It's not America. We'll just throw out a red flag and stop it because everyone's on slicks.
Oh, Halliday dives in. That's a lovely overtaking move there on Tristan Rennie. Rennie gets him straight back on the undercut. So it's not just at the front where the battles are cooking up. So a good battle here. Look at it, absolutely torrential. McQueen back on the inside of Watts for second.
Yeah, this always amuses me, Jake. The marshals holding out slippery surface.
I think they know.
Like the drivers can't see it's raining.
I think they know. I think they're well aware of how heavy it is out there. And back again on the curbs. Look, second through 4th. They're all on the curbs. Ellswood's got better traction. Dives in on the inside of both of them.
Does himself a brace. Oh, does he? They're side by side. McQueen's held on.
Yeah,
and Harvey's getting away here.
Yeah, McQueen's got better acceleration off the turn, so he's going to cut back in ahead. And Ellswood is going to try one more time, diving in on the inside of Billy's blind. Second, McQueen holds it round the outside. That'll do for Ellswood. That's P2. Harvey has got so much to lose here. Ellswood now in second place.
Will it do for Ellswood? Will it do for Ellswood, Jake? I don't think it will. He's not here for second. He's here for first. He's going after the leader. And like I said before, the leader is the championship leader. He knows that. If he had a radio system, he'd be radioing his team saying, go and have a chat with Argenti and tell him when I get there, I'm chucking it up the inside and he better give me some room.
Oh, McQueen round the outside. He's had pressure from Louis Weaver on this lap. Weaver got through initially at hands and then ran wide.
Oh.
Well, that's not advisable.
No, not on a live track that close to the leaders.
Lewis
if you trip
Halliday,
over, that could be nasty.
Lewis Halliday back on the inside, gets through on Jack Lilly. That's for 9th place, so a good move there from Halliday. Louis Harvey's already come through to start this lap with the time having run down to 0, so this is the penultimate lap. And Will Ellswood has 1.4 seconds to make up. He could do that around this place in the wet. He could do it.
I'm not sure he can, Jake. I think if Louis Harvey keeps it nice and tidy here, Caden McQueen trying to hold on to 4th. He's struggling to hold on to 4th here.
Louis Weaver's really giving him the hurry up, isn't he?
All over him. Louis Weaver looks like he fancies a top 4 minimum. And again, McQueen's in the championship hunt. So Louis Weaver, if he gets there, he'll chuck it up the inside. Ellswood will definitely throw one up the inside if he gets to Harvey, but I don't think he's going to get there.
Bit bend, he's got it, and McQueen just has to bail out of it. There's too much to lose. So Weaver gets the position up into 4th place, is now on the last lap. Louis Harvey, look, the gap has come down to 1 second between Harvey and Ellswood, so he's taken 0.4 of a second out of it. Ellswood is chucking it through every apex in the hope that Harvey's just going to be a little bit more conservative than him.
It would have to be a super lunge though. It would have to be a super lunge if he's going to go for it, and in these conditions I think he'll go straight off if he tries it.
And it'll be in the final bend. He's going to have to make the move as well as Halliday dives in on the inside of Cordell, but Cordell gets him straight back. He runs the typical karting line there. Harvey coming through buttons for the first time, and then he'll take bit bend. Surely Louis Harvey is going to finish this off in fine style in front of Will Ellswood. Tiptoes around, and I'm afraid Will Ellswood has run out of time. Louis Harvey takes the victory at Clay Pigeon in the wet at exactly the right moment in terms of the championship fight. That couldn't have gone better for Harvey, with his main rivals McQueen and Cordell down the order off the podium. So that is absolutely crucial for Louis Harvey heading to Three Sisters for the season finale. What an amazing way to end it here at Clay Pigeon. Excellent from Louis Harvey. He takes the win. Will Ellswood to second. Jensen Watson third from Louis Weaver, and Caden McQueen in P5. Then Kienta Sang ahead of Lewis Halliday, fighting all the way back to 7th. That's an amazing charge. Then Cordell, Lilly and Lincoln Bailey-Arneson, with Dan Hughes working his way up 10 places after a cracking drive.
Well, what a race there in Senior Rotax. I think that's the first time that Jenson Watts put himself on pole. He was hanging on to it for so long, but then midway through, the brollies went up as the rain started to fall, and then it was anyone's race. Full credit, though, to Louis Harvey, who put himself out in front, drove a masterclass in the wet, and well done as well to William Ellswood, who was behind him in second. Great racing from those guys there. Their experience really did show. Let's go and catch up with them at the podium.
Louis, cracking result for you this weekend. Exactly what you need at the penultimate round, isn't it? But just talk us through the end of that race when the rain started coming down. Did you think this is mine now?
Well, I knew there was a gap and I was just trying my best to keep on the track. I had a good battle with Jenson before, made the move just at the right time, and yeah, came home to win.
And who do you want to thank?
Everyone at Argentina Motorsport, my dad on the spanners, all my family and all of my sponsors.
Bit of drama towards the end as the rain came down, but just talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we come here to win it. I'm new to UKC, it's my local track. We just turned up for the win. Got robbed a little bit. The superheat before we got excluded due to a bit of a harsh decision, but there we go. We started further back for the final. When the kart come on, we were really fast. We come up through, and in the dry we were the fastest on the track. Come up to the front too. And then obviously the rain come down, hard conditions, and yeah, the best I come away with was P2. The leader was quite far away. I caught up to him towards the end, but he was, yeah, just a bit too far away for the win really. But obviously I've got to be happy with P2. It's just a good result. So yeah, I've got to thank my dad, obviously, people at Eternal Kitchens as well, and yeah, my whole family overall.
Cracking race. It was all kicking off towards the end there. You had the lead, but then the rain came. And how did that affect you?
Yeah, exactly. We had a good lead to begin with. We fought off everyone. We got a little gap. Towards the end, we had Louis behind us for ages. He made the good timing. He got the position, and then the battle began. The rain come down. It was a good fight. We had a great race. Happy to come home third.
And who do you want to thank for your success this weekend?
Of course, everyone at Zipcar and Mad Croc. But most importantly, my sponsors, got Lee Irvine at Irvine Grenson, SGS Gas, Heating Electrical, Plum Stop Amesbury as well. Everyone's helper, wouldn't be here without them.
So a fantastic season finale we're going to have next time out. Look at that. Louis Harvey has 25 points on Lorenzo Cordell. Kienta Sang now finds his way into third place in the championship from Jenson Watts, with Caden McQueen now looking like an outside bet. But if Caden McQueen hears that, that's going to put the fire in his belly to do something special next time out at Wigan.
Well, that brings us to a close for our opening programme from Clay Pigeon here in Dorset. But do join us next time, because we'll be bringing you all of the super final action in Micromax, Minimax and Honda Cadets. More young drivers all hoping to call themselves the ultimate karting champion. See ya.